Morning, welcome summer teachers. Slides magic. I'm happy to see so many of you here. I think that I'll drop the bit.ly one more time. So just to get an idea of who's in the Zoom with us, if you would drop in the chat your role in education, your grade level department, your slides proficiency on a scale of 1 to 5, and just for fun, tell me your favorite mythological creature or figure. While you're doing that, I'll introduce myself a little bit. I am a TOSA for the Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District. I run a lot of their professional development, and I coordinate induction. Oops. And because I work in a small district, I've worn a lot of hats and done a lot of things. So I've been a mentor and a master teacher, an instructional coach. I've been the coordinator for the district's gifted and talented program for their technology. We have all kinds of ranges in here. High school, preschool, secondary. So, I do teach in a TK through 12 district, and so I try to put things in there that kind of span the age groups and the needs. This is sometimes challenging, so I hope everybody at least comes away with one new thing. That'd be really great. Or at least, maybe a reminder or something new and fun. So just a little bit about this presentation. I know that, over this last year, so many educators have had to become slides magicians and pretty much overnight. A lot of people have learned a lot over this year. So maybe some of these new things, some of these things that I've learned along the way and things I have used previously to make my life easier and my students' lives easier. My students make a ton of slides, and we do a lot of collaborative work with slides. And these are some of the things I teach them to be able to do and sort of to help move them along in creating more dynamic and interesting slides. It is a lot. I don't expect that we will go through all of the slides in the presentation, but I like to kind of give people lots of things, especially again, because I do present to a broad range of people. If you're like, I already know this stuff, I don't know, you can jump ahead, you can find things that's very self-directed, and you can use it as you see fit. So just sort of a look at what is within this presentation is still mostly, I'm talking about tools that have helped me and my students work more efficiently. So we're going to look at a lot of design tools and templates. And then how, if we can get to it, we'll get to looking at theme editor and adding audio, video, and using the mobile app to help you, which is something I always forget to do. And if we have some more time, then we can look at how we can do some stop action animation as well. Excuse me. Wow. So I'm going to start with something that is pretty simple, and that is templates, because there are an abundance of awesome templates out there that you can use. Oops, jumping in, to help you kind of get started. Again, why reinvent the wheel? Let's just reach out and find some of those resources. And one of my favorites is Slides Mania, and I'm sure some of you are very familiar with it. Her resources are like amazing, and her collection, it grows, and there are a lot of templates for teachers by teachers. So if you just go, oh yeah, I'll drop the bit.ly. You open Slides Mania, you can see a huge variety of, of course, my internet wants to be slow. But one of my favorites is this art gallery slide. It's one of the more recent ones. I mean, what a great way for students to be able to they can go in and change these images to be their work. You can do a lot with this one. So here we go. And there are all of these different interactive templates that you can use. But in addition to Slides Mania, there are lots of them, and I put some links in the speaker notes of the slide deck so that you can explore those as you will. Slides Go, Slides Carnival. I think this one came from Slides Carnival actually. But templates can really jumpstart your work, and if I teach my kids to use them, and that helps them get started sometimes. Another great resource is Creative Ed Tech, Ryan O'Donnell. He has created these really awesome, my hot hands and my mouse are not friends today. He's created these really cute, like Instagram, Facebook, and then his Daily Profit, and then you can push those out to your students and they can work with those. So templates are a great jumpstart, and let's kind of dig into some design tools. Google Slides is really kind of so much more than a presentation software. It's really become like this great desktop publishing software really for us. And there are a lot of powerful ways you can use slides, especially with just a few add-ons and a couple of resources and other Google apps like Google Drawing is really helpful. So we're going to start kind of basic first, and we're just going to take a look at the very first thing. The first thing is that you can change your slide dimensions. You're not locked into slide dimensions of the widescreen. A lot of people like to use them to make, 8.5 by 11 pages. I like to use them to make headers and randomizers and stickers and all kinds of different sizes. So for example, I make this slide deck and I make these image randomizers that I then download.
What is that?
I don't know.
Make videos that the students can then, I put these on Google Slides that they can use, and then you can build a word that goes with it. So you're able to change this slide, the page dimensions. If you go to page setup, and from the
Change name on the deliver to.
Yeah.
And that way,
you
because
go to custom, and you can change it by inches, centimeters, points, or pixels, not pickles.
Monday, we could get as early as Monday. Let's see.
So that is, so you can do a lot with your page dimensions. You can change them. Like I said, I use them to make headers for Google Forms and Google Classroom. That's where I was going. And so I'm going to go ahead and use deck.new to just start an extra slide deck so that I can demonstrate some of these things. So next, you can look at your original toolbar, and when you first open a slide deck, you can control your background, where you can obviously select different background colors. You can choose images. And you can upload, you can use a URL, you can search your own Google Drive, or you can do an image search to change your background to an image. You can select any of the layouts that are part of your theme, and you can change the theme. And this is how you add, once you've gotten a template from most of those template websites, you add that template to your Google Drive, and then you open themes and select import theme. And then you can select a theme from, like I could change this theme to here, to the art gallery, and do that because it'll mess up my whole presentation. And then transition, if you're going to use it in present mode, or you're going to make digital flashcards, you would use transition. I'm not going to go too in depth into that. I have found that I have stopped using slides as a presentation tool in present mode very often, but it is there. So one of my favorite things to do with backgrounds, though, is to create a moving background. And the way that I find is easiest to do that is to use the theme editor, which kind of gets ahead of myself, but if you go to slide and edit theme, you can make those global changes to your slide deck. But what I like to do is just go down to the blank one and Command D and make a copy of the blank one, and then use my favorite, one of my favorite add-ons, the Giphy or Jiffy app. Look for HD backgrounds. Or one of my favorite ones is to do aquariums. And you can pick a suitable background and just drag it and drop it. Really love this one, but oops. Undo as your friend. Now. I really love this one, but we're going to use it anyway. And you can kind of resize it so it fits your slide. This one I'm going to frame it anyway, so I'm just going to leave it like that. And then when you click that here, it now is a layout option. Oof, that is really awful. And then I can even frame it with the shape. Mouse machine. Actually, I'm going to go back into my name and crop this so that it fits the slide a little better. Yep. For some reason, I am having trouble with this machine. I'm going to delete that though because I really don't care for that. It's making my eyes hurt. But so one of the things that I like to do, if you want to do that and you want to refresh, I did include a video that shows you how to do that. The same thing.
Nicole, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry. I know we're pressed for time, but it went really fast. Can you go back to how you, I guess, add on the different slides? Not
The
the
template? Sure
no,
thing.
the design tools.
So the template. So in my blank presentation, I'm going to select theme, import theme, and I've already added it to my drive from whatever website I've gone to. So for example, here's the art gallery one. And then I can just select it and import it into my new presentation. And then I have all of the options as slides. That good?
Is GFI a download or was it an add-on?
It is an extension. It's a Google extension. It's a Google extension. So and it's actually linked in here later. So if you think to get the extension. So the next thing is with objects. So we have just our slides toolbar, and then we have objects, and then we have some options with our objects. So if I highlight an object, I have new options up here. I can replace the image with a new image. I have format options, and I can animate, make animations for like slight transitions. So format options gives you a lot. You can resize and rotate from here. You can flip and rotate at different angles. You can shift its position in the slide. You have close and use. There are some recoloring options. Sometimes that's helpful. And again, one of my favorite things is drop shadows and reflection. So I can add a drop shadow. I can make it a color that we can see really well. And I can angle it how I want it to be. Move it a little bit away, move it a lot away. And a lot of times, drop shadows really help with the visibility of some of the materials that we're putting on slides. So this is one I teach students to do pretty rapidly. And you can do that with text. You can do that with images. You can also use the reflection. And again, you can adjust how transparent it is, how far it is from the other object, whether it's larger or smaller. So you can make some different changes to highlight kind of your text to make it look nicer, to make it more interesting, and sometimes to increase the readability or just the overall look of the slide in general. So lots of options with objects in there. So one of the things that I really love is that all of these, there's so many resources out there, and here are some of my favorites, and I've linked them for you. And you know, the extension for Jiffy is here. I put these in order that I use them, so I use it a lot. I have an addiction, I think, to adding GIFs to things. One of my favorites, well, before I talk about one of my favorites, let's talk about Google Fonts. Google has a limited number of fonts, but sometimes people don't realize that it actually has a lot more fonts than are initially available by default. So if you go open your fonts, you can click at the very top. Close that again, where it says more fonts, and you can find a variety of fonts, and you can search by different types, and you can sort that by popularity or what's trending right now or what's newest. And then all you have to do if you say, oh, I like that font, is click it, and it's now part of your font menu when you go to the drop down. And let's say you add one that you don't like, you can go to this side and you can click that X and remove it. So you can increase your font library and you can customize it to suit your wishes and what you like. Okay. Else is not being nice to me. But again, one of my favorite ways to get additional text is font meme, because I'm not really in love with word art. I know you can do a lot with it, but I feel like font meme gives me a lot more options. So font meme lets you pull fonts from pop culture, and you can do a lot with them. So like if I like this Cocoa Melon, I can go in here. I've already typed in font meme. I can select and make sure that I have the fonts I like. I can choose from all of these different effects that I want to apply to it. And I can enter the size and I can change the color. And then it'll generate a transparent PNG that I can then copy or save. I can copy, paste, and save, which is great. I'm like, yay, that's like, I make so many things with font meme. But then if you scroll further down in font meme after you've made that, you also have image tools. And you can then open that and apply some additional effects to that PNG image that you created. So if I wanted to have an arc, I can go to bend image and I can decide on what kind of angle I like, what kind of angle I want. Let's say I want 100 degree arc, and it will generate that for me. Maybe I'm like, I want it a little more, so maybe I'm gonna change it to 110. And then I can, again, I can download, or I can copy, put it in here, and paste it into my slide. Now it does get treated, it gets treated like an image because it's a PNG, but if I don't like how that worked, I can go back and change it and adjust it some more. So font meme is definitely one of my favorites. I also love this add-on, the Rainbow Magic Unicorn. Oops. So what you can do here is if you have added it, and it is in the workspace marketplace, I think, and I have this one there. Start, And it lets you apply a rainbow effect to your text. So that's to get extra images for your slides. I love Flat Icon. I love that they have add-ons, and the Noun project also, they have add-ons that you can add. This one is Flat Icon. Search for anything. And then insert it directly into your presentation. Same with the Noun project. And then also, if you're looking for images, Unsplash is great. Sorcera, I haven't used as much, but it gives you access to museum images. So you can search different museum quality images. Check my time because I know I'm like gonna run long. And I like to use Canva and Adobe Spark. I use a lot of things. One of my favorite silly little tools is the color picker eyedropper. So I can match all my colors up. That's the one I use the most. And you just click it's a Google extension. You just click it and then hover over any color. It's not liking me right now. It's weird. And it will give you both codes for it that you can then copy and use to, like, if I wanted to. No, I won't not select it. We'll see if that works. Close it. And then if I want my font to be changed to that color to match that icon. Custom. Yeah. Oops, it didn't copy. Of course, I'm having issues because I'm in front of all these people. There it is. So once again, click, copy. Oh, it should work, right? If I want to change that font color again to custom, insert that hex code. And now my font matches that instead. For palettes, Paletti is a add-on that works right inside Google Slides, but my favorite is actually a website, this Coolers website. That gives you all kinds of palettes and trending palettes. So if you want to build and create with complementary colors, Coolers is my favorite way to get a good color palette going. So another thing I like to show my students how to do is to mask, crop, and to frame their images. So if I click on an image and then I use the cropping tool, I can actually mask this into any of the available shapes. If I want it to be that shaped, I can do it. I can also crop an image, like maybe I only want the unicorn to show. So if I double click, we get these new set of handles. And you can crop what is visible. And I just grabbed the wrong handle. There we go. And then only that piece becomes visible, and I can then go ahead and also mask it into any of the shapes that I like. Another thing, I like to show my students to do is to take advantage of border to create frames. So the border I can select the border color. Let's pick a color that's been shown, like white. I can select a border thickness up to really, really thick. And I can also make it a dotted or dashed line. Another way to make kind of your elements kind of pop when you're creating your visual slides. Another time saver, and this one took me a long time to find. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit, but never really bothered with it, but it was the paint roller, where you can apply formatting from one shape or one element to another. So for example, I have this formatted text box and I want all of these to have that. I click that text box, double click the paint roller. You can see that it's highlighted, and now I can just click, or even faster, I'm still highlighted. I can also just drag and highlight. It'll make those changes too. So this is a really great time saver, especially if I'm making like printable flashcards or anything like that. I make one and I duplicate it, but if I forget that, I can go in and apply those changes pretty rapidly. Yeah, I did not discover that until maybe a year or two ago, and I was like, where has that been all my life? Another tool, a set of tools that I use all the time, and it was definitely one of those things that I learned after trying to make my own number lines. It was the order, align, distribute, and rotate tools, especially the distribute tool. I spent all these times like trying to eyeball and trying to make sure that things were well organized. So there's a video added there that shows you, but for example, I can distribute. Goodness gracious, oh, because I still have my, just trying to format it with the roller. That's fun. So if I want them evenly distributed over that space, I put one on the end and one on each end that I want, and then I can select all of them, go to arrange, and distribute those horizontally and real evenly, make sure that they are equidistant, which is again, huge time saver. And like I said, I figured that out after I had attempted to make my own number lines. I also like to use the arrangement tool to make draggable stacks for click and drag activities. So if I duplicate an image a few times, I can select all of them and I can align them on my left and along the top. And then I actually make copies of that stack so that I have a whole bunch, and now I'm dragging my arrange tools instead. So these are, again, these are the tools that I find I show my students how to use, that I use all the time when I'm creating. And now I have a nice draggable stack of math manipulatives or numbers or whatever you need to have. And then using that rotation tool, same thing. And there are multiple ways to do that, but that's a nice fast way to do the rotation tool. So that's a lot of design elements, and hopefully there's something new either between the element options or you know, some of the tools that I've showed you. So I'm going to give you some time to try some of these things. So on the next two slides, on slides 20, 21, and I'll redrop that bit.ly in case somebody's missing it. You can kind of explore, check out anything that's new, practice things, and I'm going to try to, whoops, I'm trying to drop a hex code instead of a code. And then I'll try to answer some of the questions in the chat. Okay, so let's take about 5 minutes to take a look.
You remind me of the babe with the power of voodoo. Remind me of the babe.
I saw my baby crying waters, babe could cry. What could I do? My baby's love had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use. Oh, what we don't tell. And baby said, dance, magic dance, dance, magic dance, spell on me. Jump, magic jump, jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump, that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make him free. I saw my baby trying hard as babe could try. What could I do? My baby's heart had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use. Puppy dog skills.
Well, how did I make my pointer? It's a Google extension. Called Magic Finger. I'll look it up. The pointer is a Google extension. Ooh, glowing emoji. I like that. Oh.
You remind me of the babe. Babe with the power. Power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe.
What kind of magic spell to use? Slime snails or puppy dog tails, thunder or lightning, something frightening. Dance, magic dance, dance, magic dance. Put that baby spell on me.
I use custom cursor to get my unicorn. Yeah. Any tips for inserting an image around text? Sure, I understand. That gave you time to explore. I got a question about how do you, any tips for inserting an image around text? Not sure I understand what you're trying to do. So I want to make sure that I can answer your question, but
Well, I'm the one that gave that question.
yes.
Just sometimes when I'm creating like I'll take a Google slide and I'll customize the size and make it maybe into more of like a newsletter. Trying to get graphic around the text. It's just like, oh my gosh. It works,
Yes.
and I'm like successful. And then other times it's like, what is going on? So I just didn't know if you had any tips about that. You might
It is actually something I struggle with as well in terms of like layout, where I have to put one text box and then another text box kind of thing. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've done to make it work better. Let me think on that. try to get back, because I know I've struggled with that as well, especially on things like newsletters, and now I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, and the slide deck is view only. You can make your own copy. And it doesn't look like, ooh, that's not cool. Here, we'll just do this. I'll show you actual, and then I'll check the bit.ly. Just in case. But I haven't presented alone in a long time, so I'm not really good at monitoring the chat, honestly. Terrible. So hopefully everybody saw something that was new or different, or something that might, jazz up their day. Another tool that I really love to use with students is the Explore tool, because it allows them to do web searches and search their Google Drive, or do image searches right in without leaving slides. It's nice and efficient, and it just opens a sidebar. You click down here, and again, it's down at the bottom. Just this little Explore tool. And then students can look for, they can again do a web search. They can search images and then insert them directly. Or they can search their Google Drive. So another great, for me, again, it's all about efficiency and things that make the work a little lighter and easier. Have a section, I'll show you hyperlinking. So what I love about slides is that you can link to places within your slide and create like a table of contents or a jump to. So again, speeds up moving throughout, especially if you're pushing work out to students that you want them to access different things. And I know a lot of people, again, became wizards of this for the distance learning, but anything can be a hyperlink. So you can take a GIF and do it. And again, you can, I like to use my keyboard shortcuts, Control or Command K to insert my link. And then I can select any slide in the presentation that I want to link it to, or I can paste the link, or I can start searching. Like maybe I want to go to the Magic Castle one. And I can link that way. The same for an image, same for a text box. Anything can be turned into a hyperlink, and again, it can be linked the other way. Clicking that link, those pieces, and again, I can link to a slide in the presentation. Say I want you to go to the toolbar tour, and that's gotta fix the text. Oh, hot hands, hot hands. Nobody should let me drive. Let's try that again. I want to link it to, I'll just say the next slide. So anything can be a hyperlink. You can link to different places in your slide deck. And so that students can jump around. Students can also create those links. And then we have 7 minutes. So there are a lot of things. Theme editor is a PD all on its own, but I did include some videos and things that is formerly the master slide. And again, I did show it briefly with the background. But if you go to slide, edit theme, you can make global changes to the deck. So maybe I don't like this as my font. I can go to the master slide and I can change the default font to whatever I want it to be. And anything that is that level of text would then change to that font. I can also, this is also how you can add things that you don't want students to be able to move or take off. So I'll use my blank slide here. And I will, let's say I want to insert a table that I don't want them to be able to move or do anything to. I can put it on there. And then when I go back to my slide deck and I want to add, that's now an option. And they can't move that. There's a whole lot more you can do with Theme Editor. It's a whole PV on its own. And then adding audio, my favorite thing to do is the online voice recorder. And I want to do one more thing that I just think is super magical, and that is the record in slides extension, which is linked here. It gives you that once you've installed it, it gives you this little icon, and then your students can do record right directly in slides without leaving slides. You can do shared webcam, you can do share screen, so they can do a mini screencast right there in slides. It works with your snap camera, so when I want to record a video as a chicken nugget or something silly just to get everybody's attention, I can do that. It's a really nice, convenient tool. So it is an extension or an add-on that you can get from the Chrome Web Store. And then once you've added it, you will have that icon on the top of your slides to record to slides. Another quick tip is the mobile app. And this is something I forget sometimes when I'm fighting to send myself or drop things from my phone or my iPad to my Google Drive and then move them to slides. And I remember, oh yeah, you have the slides app on your phone. You can just open that slide deck and put your images in. It's a great way to add audio. It works with Moat. You take your presentation text. It's just some things are just easier on the mobile app. Not many things, honestly. The mobile apps do have their limitations, but some things really are just easier and faster with the mobile app. And another really great way to use slides is to create stop action animation. And I have instructions here. Obviously, that's also another one that's like a full PD on its own. At 110, we're doing Ready Player One, a colleague and I, and we do go over this. But here's our Drowning Ophelia for our literature class. And there are multiple ways you can do this and multiple fun ways to do this. But again, I've added the videos and instructions to show you how if you want to. And then Slip and Slide is another Google Slide add-on that I find to use a lot, especially for things that are ongoing projects with kids. It allows you to insert a slide into multiple decks at a time. So if your students have a journal, or if you do 8 parts of speech every day or something like that, and you want to give them something new and fresh to add to that, it lets you add those in there. So and then I just added some other like fun things. Worst prezo ever is one of my favorite things to do with kids, because one, it's fun, and two, it helps. Like, my students do not read PowerPoints to me. I mean, much better than some of my past admins. They don't put too much text on them. They understand the value of and the role of a visual aid if they're speaking. I have a template for creating your own little TikTok and a tutorial from Joe Marquez, and just a few other goodies in there. So that takes us right almost to time. So I will try to answer any other questions. I really appreciate you coming. I mean, it's a summer, so summer teachers, awesome. Feel free to reach out if you have questions, if I missed something. If you would like to provide me feedback on the Google form, please do. And thanks again. Thank you.
Nicole, do you have any tips on how you get your music to play so well?
I just get lucky.
Because sometimes it's great for us and sometimes it's not. So I mean, you had some app or something you use for that.
I just used the downloaded the desktop player for Spotify or Amazon Music. That's what I pretty much always use. I think often it's a bandwidth thing, but I do think maybe that's it. Maybe because I use the desktop app, it's not competing for bandwidth. I don't know.
Okay, awesome. That's something to try. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So, and again, I know it's a lot. It's like all the things. I'm like a zealous over planner. Let's play a little music. No, it won't play. There we go.
Do you believe in magic? In a young girl's heart, how the music can free her whenever it starts, and it's magic. If the music is groovy and makes you feel happy.
I believe, I mean, it has been recorded. It is being recorded, so I'm assuming it will be posted. You know?